I'm Joanna, and this is Yo, and we're from Literacy in Action. We are a nonprofit organization that is volunteer-based. We serve the Estlie region, and we're based in the eastern townships of Quebec. So, as we like to say, our mission is to offer English-speaking activities and learning opportunities by hosting literacy-related activities. Sorry, I'm a little bit on autopilot. Training tutors and supporting parents, and providing one-on-one support for adults who want to build on their reading, writing, computer, and overall life skills. We also like to say that all of our direct services and community activities are free of charge. So, Yo and I welcome you to our community of lifelong learners, COVID style. Yeah, so if you are here with us tonight, you can give us a like, leave a comment, just let us know that you're interested in what we're doing and maybe want to get involved in some other way with our organization. And Yo is going to bring us through our monthly scrap of the month, where she gets creative and figures out different ways of reusing, reclaiming, recycling materials that we can find in our homes. And Yo, this is your time.
Excellent, excellent. Well, hi, Clay and Harry, Guan. It's nice to have you guys here. Thanks for checking in so early on. That's excellent. So we are making stencils today. So I've got some stencils here, little examples. And so I'm just going to go over the material list first, so that we're all on the same page and ready to create. Sounds good?
It does sound good.
Excellent. And I'll say just like why we're doing this. We love to do hands-on activities with Literacy in Action. We can play around with images. We can play around with different words to create a message or a thought. And as you may remember, Joanna, the last time we made stencils, there's lots of opportunities for failure. And so we're going to explore that and how to get through little moments of failure. It's a really fun activity, but there's just a couple of things that we need to keep in mind when we are creating stencils. So, materialist, ready? First and foremost, we need our cardboard. So I have my cereal box here. I've got also toilet paper roll, wins again. If you flatten it, you can use that and create a stencil. I've got a little tea box here. That's a great thing. We just want really thin cardboard. So if you have like a frozen pizza box, that's excellent. But a big pizza box, more like a delivery, that's just going to be a bit harder to do because we're just using scissors today. We're not doing X-Actos. So also little la vache qui rit, whatever cardboard you've got, that's our main thing. And then we're going to use scissors. Our next one. If you have, I forgot to mention this, but a pencil is probably a good idea, or a pen, any kind of writing tool, just to sketch out what you want to do. You might be a freestyler, which is great, but pencils are good for planning. So excellent. So we.
Sorry, I replied.
It's like, and that was my point.
I clicked to reply to say hi to everyone who's here, and
excellent.
I'm sorry.
Excellent.
Keep going, Yo. You're doing great.
Okay, that's what else?
Really?
Then we're gonna need any kind of tape. So this is the only tape I have. Whatever tape you got, Scotch tape, green tape.
I'm using Post-it notes tonight because I could not find tape, and I thought, you know, what do I have that's sticky and always around? Post-it notes are really the way to go.
Okay, I'm excited to see how that goes.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you got scissors, perfect.
Yeah.
We're gonna need, I'm using paint tonight. So I've got, you need just like one color. But I know Joanna, you've got pencils, colored pencils, markers work, crayons are really awesome. And that's just gonna be for sort of putting in color into our stencil. And then to put that in, so if you are like me and you are using paint, I've got an old sponge, an old dish sponge that I've cut up, and I'm using to do my painting. You can also do it traditionally and use a paintbrush, or your fingers if you're if you really need it. I did some finger painting the other day and it was really satisfying. Also, if you're using paint, just a little something, I've got like a plastic cover here just to put my paint on. You can also just use some extra cardboard if you have that. And then finally, paper. So any color will do, whatever you have. We are going to be, for this workshop, we're going to be making our stencils into cards. So if I've already kind of folded mine, but I've got white paper. The main thing you need to know, it's like if you have white paint and white paper, that's not really going to work, right? So you just want a contrasting color. I have been there where I'm like, oh, I love this blue carton, and then I have blue paint, and that doesn't really work. So if you have scrap paper, great. The more scrap, the merrier, because it's just.
Yeah, I clearly just some ideas. Wonderful.
Yeah. Excellent. So yeah, going for the scraps, it's good on our bank account and it's good on the earth. So we want to do that as much as possible.
Great. I do want to bring our friend Clay has just asked, is construction paper okay?
Yes, construction paper is great. I personally don't have any right now. So yeah, just as long as it's a different color than whatever paint or marker you're using, because you want it to pop. Kind of like I've got a little gold star here. I want my gold star to pop. Same with my little heart.
Oh.
Yeah. Post Valentine's Day. I always think Valentine's Day is the 15th, but it's the 14th. So 2 days after. We can still send out some nice cards.
Some gratitude
to whoever
cards.
we want. Gratitude cards, love cards, anything. Yeah. So, are you ready?
Yeah.
Excellent. Sure. Yeah, if ever you've joined the conversation, we have posted sort of an image of all the things that you need. So you can always check back on that to see if you got everything to go. So the first thing we need to figure out is what stencil we want to create. So what image or word. I'm going to start with images just because words are a little more complicated.
Okay.
So
Can I make a suggestion that anybody to just give us a second to cut our pieces if we already have them, like just because I want to be right
get
on
ready.
Yeah, so if anybody is still getting their material, I'm gonna use my motor skills and cut some cardboard, and I'm gonna cut it twice because if they can be separate stencils, of course.
True, because you choose the side, and I think we're just taking off the sides of our cardboard because we want a smooth piece.
Okay, good.
Of cardboard. So like my little vache qui rit, I'm going to take off the rim of it because I just want the circle.
Okay.
And yeah.
I don't know if I skipped a step because in my mind, we were going to stencil here, right? Or were you going to suggest doing a draft somewhere?
No, I would draft it right onto the cardboard.
Okay.
If you really want to plan it out and do a draft on a scrap piece of paper and then do it, kind of figure out what you want to do, go for that. But I would suggest for now, we're just going to start on the carton, the cardboard.
Perfect. I'm back with you.
Excellent. So, but good idea. Like get those edges off. We want it to be a flat surface. And we want to, like I said, start off with a very simple image. We'll get to words and letters in a bit because it's a bit more complicated. And the little heart, I mean, where's my actual stencil? I don't know where it went, but I have the star. They're simple images, but they're really awesome. And I would suggest even just a circle, just trying out a simple image to begin with. I think this started off as a star and then kind of just became a little flower, question mark. So yeah, I would just, and go as close to the edge of your cardboard as possible to start with your images. So you can maybe do a couple and then we'll decide which one we want to go with. You are making sketch out what you want to do. Oh,
Sorry, I don't know what happened there, but yeah.
no worries.
I'm gonna move.
So I would go with the pencil just because you can erase it. I'm going to do a marker just for the purposes of people being able to see. And now I've got my Sharpie. Great. And I'm ready to go.
And guys, I do want to just reinforce what Yo said, because last time I did this with her, what I thought was a simple shape was not.
Yeah.
I did like a zigzag and in a sun, like in an arc, and that seemed simple, but it was, I think, one of the most complicated things I've ever tried to do. And so I really just want to reinforce that, because we have an hour together. So this is our first try. Let's those small steps.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, that's me, like, sorry.
And it mainly has to do with cutting it out, especially because we're just using scissors today. So you need an entry point. And as soon as you make it more complicated, things start falling out and your stencil is no longer the image that you had in mind. So sometimes it kind of just takes like doing it and then you're like, okay, now I get it. So we'll start with simple and then go from there. And yeah. So I got to figure out something else than a star and a heart for myself to do. Maybe I'm just going to do something simple. Oh, I got it.
I like to think out loud.
Mm-hmm.
Some of my dear friends know. And I'm thinking of things in nature, because I remember Yo once making one with like a maple leaf.
Yeah.
Yeah. So things in nature are usually have like a pretty basic framework to them.
Yeah.
And I was gonna say sports, but you can't really express like a soccer ball, but a circle would work.
A circle would work. And I love that you brought up the leaf, because you can do tracing. Right. So if you're not as comfortable, so I just drew a little cloud here. So with your nature, but I'm thinking for a circle and I want to make a perfect circle. I'm just going to take my mug here and place it on my cardboard and then just trace that. So, or I could even use the inside of my tape here and make another big, that's kind of big for what I want to do.
I'm like, do I trace the scissors as an exercise, or would that would actually
too complicated?
I was gonna say, I was like, I think that's too complicated because of the circle.
Oh, hi, Kate. Yay.
Oh.
Excellent. Excellent. Thanks for being with us. I traced my circle and it got a little wonky, so my perfect circle is still a little off, but that's okay. I might try that again. Oop, And I've Sharpied my mug. Whoops.
No.
But yeah.
Well, I've tried to do a star,
Yeah.
but it is getting stranger and stranger as I continue.
Oh, it's a shooting star. It's a
Yeah,
dancing
well,
star.
just it got mismorphed, or it, you know what I mean. And
Yeah.
it's not going to connect. It's a 3D star for now. Yeah, but you're right, a shooting star. Yeah.
Yeah.
Clay wrote, do I do one heart, or do I need one inside the other? Or do I need to do one inside the other?
One inside the other.
I think he's like wondering, like, to trace it. Like
Like one side of it?
I think it's like to make it thick. Like, you know how when you do yo, you have
Yeah.
like a pretty thick thing. So
Yeah.
I'm wondering for him to make a heart. Clay, if you're still with us, could you tell us if you want to fit? Is it because you don't want to fill it in, or is it because you kind of want to trace the heart?
Right. And that is just, so we don't need to fill it in because this is we're going to cut out the inside part. So we're just, and maybe I'll start cutting. And then might kind of help us go for it. And I'll just trace a heart as well. So we have an example of that. So I've got my heart here. And what I'm going to do for my own sake, I'm just going to, because I have 3 different traces drawings, I'm just going to cut them into squares. That'll just help me kind of organize my stencils a little bit.
I'm gonna do a heart too.
Yeah, they're super fun. And the really cool thing about stencils is like, it seems like a simple image, but we can do a repetition, right? So this is why, like, we can do a card, but a lot of people use stencils for their walls. So if I wanted to like do a bunch of stars in a row on my wall back here, I could use that. And kind of like with this image where I have a repetition of stars. And I played a bit with the what's the word?
Well, the
Texture.
texture.
Yeah. Yeah.
It wears out. It wears out. Is this heart too big, yo?
No. No. So I'm gonna do my heart, and the main thing is I'm gonna have one cut in, so kind of one area.
Yeah.
That's cut, and then I'm gonna cut the rest. All right, and it can be a bit tricky, so just take your time with it, especially the turning points. All right, so I'm about halfway. And it doesn't matter so much if you go outside the lines with cutting out a stencil, so that's fun. So don't worry about that so much. Okay, and then I'm coming back to sort of my image, and then I'm cutting it out. Okay, so I'm gonna flip it the other side here. That's the main thing of stencils, is you want to make the least amount of entry points. So I have this one cut that I made, and that's where our tape comes in. You don't have to tape it back together, but I find it extremely helpful. So if you see my star here, this is my entry point, and you might see the little bit of shine. That's the tape that I've put, just because it's the more stencils you make, it can shift and move, and then your star gets a little wonky. So that's where you put the tape in. Cool. That's perfect. Yeah, hello. So yeah, put a little tape. I've got to like find wherever my tape begins. And then,
You know, one thing as I was cutting, I was thinking about, um, you know, you had talked about how failure is one of the things we want to like explore with this, and what that's about, and why for us we identify it at, you know, because in that way as one of the like as one of the things to explore.
yeah.
And I was thinking too about how that leads to trying something new. And
Yeah.
one of the beauties of being a part of a learning community is learning from each other things that we would have never thought we would try. And
Mm,
I would say stenciling is one of those things that had kind of never crossed my mind. Like I always thought it was really cool and I appreciated it,
yeah.
but I never thought I would try. So that's I just wanted to add that to the arts and the scrap of the month stuff. And
Excellent.
with that,
Yeah.
this is how I'm using the Post-it as my tape.
Oh, can you get closer? Nice. It worked.
For now.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, we got to give an example of failure. When we
Yeah.
get to letters, I'll show you failure. So I put tape on one side. I'm going to put tape on the other just because I have some left over and I like having it a bit more secure.
Right.
So heart, and I'm going to cut out my little cloud. If you want to just do one stencil, that's cool. I haven't done a cloud yet. So I'm going to go for that, and then we'll explore letters and why they're a little more complicated. So cutting out my cloud.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Sorry. Yes, I just had an idea of making another smaller heart.
Yeah.
Because in the other corner,
Mm-hmm.
because then when I make the stencil later, I can like give it some. I really liked the image of the card you made with the different um, depths almost to it.
Yeah.
Now I see the cloud.
Or a sheep. I'm kind of in a sheep vibe.
It makes me think of Pictionary.
Yeah. I would also suggest keeping the little shape that comes out. If it kind of, you cut it and it's gone and it's now shredded, that's fine. But one thing that you can do if you have your stencil and then the little bit that comes out. If I have my card here, so this heart, where's my heart stencil? Too many things. But what I did here with the heart bit is I put it there and then I added paint around it. So I'll show you guys how that actually works when we get to the painting. But it can be fun to explore both the outside stencil and within. So yeah.
Great. I just wanted to mention to the folks that might want to try to show us what they're doing. Um, this comes back to if you'd like to take a photo and send it to us, that's definitely the best way to do it. And then we'll take a look. But for now, it could be fun if you take photos progressively and then send them to us at the end, just so it doesn't kind of rupture your creative flow.
We go with the flow. Yes. Yes. All right, I'm just putting tape on my cloud and then we'll get to some letters. Sounds good?
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So I've got tape on my cloud, on my heart. I'm trying to keep track of the little bits so I have those on hand. And then we're gonna go into letters. Okay. And Joe, you let me know when you're ready.
I'm ready. I just realized that I forgot to cut my star out.
Oh,
So,
right. Let's get that star.
but it looked better on paper. Let's just be clear.
He's got style.
Yeah. Well, anyhow, we weren't looking for perfection. Failure is not about trying to be perfect. It's actually you don't. Anyways, all right. Please, Yo, do tell me how to do letters.
Letters. Whoops. Oi. So I wrote my name. Not my full name because it's too long. My nickname. Some letters are easier than others. And my name is a perfect example of that. So we have the Y, which is kind of like our heart. It's a relatively simple shape. Where it gets complicated is the O's. So a lot of vowels, O, A, B, which is not a vowel, but anything that has a shape inside, we need to make sure that there's a little bit of cardboard that keeps it connected to this piece. Because let's say if I don't have these two pieces, then this will just disappear. And like, luckily in the case of Yo, it's not the end of the world because it just makes a big circle. But if you're doing an E, A, it's not ideal. So this definitely, I would suggest drawing out first. And drawing out, I would recommend 2 spaces, 2 little cardboard lines here, and I can get closer. You'll see the little silver part, that's just paint from when I was drawing, but so this is cardboard. And so just drawing basically a C and another C, leaving that space in.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's try that out. Whatever letters you want. I will think of another word to write, and it can just be letters. Like it doesn't have to be an actual word. And maybe start with just 1 or 2 letters, and then build it up from there. Yeah.
Yeah, this is definitely the moment to experiment. So when I think of words, I think of, I'm thinking of love because it has the O and the E. Love, love.
Yeah.
And
then you just, okay.
We just got a glimpse of our meetings. Oh.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you do the V, would you recommend still doing kind of like the line, like the O in the O?
No. Oh, sorry. In the O?
No, in the V, like you would do in the O.
No, so the V you don't like, and it's again, it's in the Y. So it's like if it were just a V,
yeah,
you don't need that connector piece.
Okay.
So you just see, and the Y,
that's the key. It's the lines that you have in the O, it's the connector. I like that
word. It's the connector.
That's the function of it.
And so like you'll see this the shiny bit is where I put tape. So this is my entry point that I went in with scissors. It's cut here.
Yeah.
So I cut, did my Y, and then taped it. And then I cut here, did this kind of C, and then another C. So I kept it. So again, sketch it out first.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do. I'm trying to think of 2-letter words.
I'm gonna do hope.
Hope.
H-O-P-E. Hope.
Excellent. And you can choose if you want to do capital or minuscule. I always say smaller case. So depending, and you can mix it up. It's a stencil.
Yeah.
Free creative time.
I noticed I've been getting really cheesy these days. Like I might have always been, but recently it's just like, yeah, I have so much gratitude, so much love, so much appreciation for everything that's going on. Sorry, this, I don't know, the heater just turned off and it just completely changed the vibe of
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been interesting. So yeah, I think I'm sticking with the word hope because I think it really encompasses the feeling I'm seeking to have around the challenges of living during a global pandemic, you know, as we all are. So sorry
This
to get
is
also
my word. If you are working on your boundaries this global pandemic, this is the word for you.
Yeah. Such an important word.
It's an important word. I also want to do yes. I'm gonna have like the two.
Yeah.
I'll have the 2 stencils. I'm realizing this is a bit odd as a stencil too. I'm just gonna put like no everywhere. Gonna celebrate boundary setting. And you'll see just I've drawn in my little connector points. And what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna draw in where I'm gonna cut. So I'll show you what that's gonna look like. Whoop. I'm getting Sharpie everywhere.
Let us know what words you guys are thinking about if you're there. I just made my H way too big. Okay, yeah.
So I've drawn, so for my N, I'm gonna cut here. I'm just gonna follow the Sharpie. And with my O, I have 2 entry points.
Excellent.
Okay. In my yo and my other one, they're kind of both very close to each other, which is not the end of the world, but it does set you up for potential failure a bit more. And the good thing about this is if you do mess up your O or your other vowel or whatever, cutting, you cut it and it's like, oh no, you just try again. So no. And I'm actually going to use, I'm going to do yes as well because I'm curious now. And I'm going to use it on the flattened toilet paper roll. So I was excited to see how that works. You know how there's like this stitch?
Right.
So I'm curious how that works. There might be a bit more tape needed. So I'm going to make yes. And I'm feeling the capital letters for.
Oh, me too.
Aha! And I actually realized then I don't have to worry about the cutout's a little easier for capital E than it is for lowercase e.
Well, I just got fooled because I legitimately I thought that P was going to be simple.
Yeah. Nope.
Nope.
Yes. Oh, but nice connectors.
Yeah, the only way I did that properly is because of how you did it. The way you showed us with the line, that was a really good indicator, yo. Thank you.
Excellent. I was going to do an exclamation point next to my yes, and then I ran out of toilet paper roll. But you can make an exclamation point too. You can make a question mark as well if you're feeling existential. So I'm gonna do
Can I?
my lines here as well. So these are my entry points, and they're just the guides to get me going.
I'm interested from an aesthetic perspective.
Yes.
Should I do a capital E or a small E?
I'm like, aesthetically, it's either or, but I think aesthetically, I would go for little e.
Too. I know.
Yeah, but in terms of ease, I would go with the capital.
Ease,
Ease,
E-A-S-E.
but it's a good exercise.
Yeah. Sorry, I've been working with one of our adult learners and I just spell words out loud now.
Excellent.
Yeah. So sorry,
Especially in English,
yeah.
because there's some added letters a lot of
Yeah.
the time that it's like, what are you doing there?
Yeah.
G.
Yeah.
Excellent. All right. And guys, if you have questions, don't hesitate. We've had a few already, which is great. And yeah, I'm getting ready to start cutting. And then we'll do a little paint.
I feel like I'm missing some on the comments here. It says we have a few of them, but I only see a couple. So if you can see more, feel free to check that out in this brief moment.
I will. Boop, boop, boop.
Yeah, I think for the sake, one thing I've learned in doing this with you each month is that it doesn't need to be exactly what I imagined in my head. What matters is that I try it once so that I know for next time what I want to do.
Yeah.
The rough draft is so important.
Yeah.
So I decided to go with the big E so that I
Okay.
can get it out of my system and like move on with you.
Yeah.
And now what I'm going to do, if others are still where I'm at, just a friendly reminder to mark where your entry point is.
Yeah.
As a tip. Oh, I have a question.
Hot tip. Yeah.
Can I do 2 entry points from up here? Because it's so far. It's just so far away.
You can.
Yeah. You don't recommend it though?
I don't recommend it. Just because it's, and I did it with my O, and I remember cutting it and being like, oh, so close to messing up. So just because it's, yeah, and it might just rip up, but.
All right. Yeah. I got you.
Yeah.
Very curious.
I'm gonna start cutting my no.
Okay.
Yeah, that makes sense. I like it's like its own style with the entry points.
Yeah.
It's cool.
No exit.
And again, like we're not trying to color in. So if you go a little off, like I'm a little off my exact drawing. Oh, N is a little harder. Yeah, I to get back to your question, Joanna, about Facebook Live, because we are learning more and more about this each month as well. I do see there are 11 comments, but I don't see all of them. So I see the latest, which was a beautiful hi from Kate. So I hope you're still with us and creating some stencils. So I'll refresh one more time just in case.
And if anybody's joining us now and trying to catch up with us, I want to just bring the attention. I went too close to the edge, so this is what's happening now.
Okay, yeah.
And I think one thing that's interesting with that is like how on paper, I don't know if there's a lesson in what I'm going to say or anything, but it's making me think about how we're creating something that's almost three-dimensional. Like it's almost what we create on paper is not, how can I put it? This is a good, there's a process involved.
Yeah.
And what's interesting about this, and as it relates to failure, as it relates to trying, as it relates to doing something new, I feel like this is a really good example of how creative literacy is, and literacy in general is about doing small steps in order to achieve a greater vision, whether that's like or understanding a word or understanding how to fill in a document. Like there are small steps that you need to take in order for it to manifest in the way you want it to become. Yeah.
Yeah, and sometimes it's like with your H, sometimes it's like we cut and it's gone and it's messed up and we got to try it over, or sometimes we just need to fix it and put a little tape.
Yeah.
So I've got my N here, which is going to need a little tape. I'm debating if I'm going to tape it now. I think I'll tape it. I'll do my O and then tape it afterwards. So it's going to get a little wonky, which makes me a little nervous, but I'm going to try.
One thing I also didn't anticipate was that I think my scissors are too big.
Too big.
Too big.
Oh. Okay, get rid of that. All right.
I was talking to one of our colleagues today.
Mm-hmm.
I thought I'd share this because we are, it is literacy and action and whatnot, but we were talking about how much we missed libraries and that we're really excited that that's a space that's reopening in Quebec and that we're able to access them again.
Yeah.
Now, even with the Zone Rouge, that's going to be open. So just a shout out to the libraries out there who have been doing awesome work and staying available. And yeah, we're excited and happy that that's going to be spaces that can be used.
I've got my no here, and you can see it's like shaking it and make it's very wonky. The 2 points. So I'm just going to be taping it up. And so sometimes it merits, especially if you're doing a longer word, to tape up your first letters first before starting another one, because it can get fragile.
I know. I'm not ready to like risk the Post-it yet.
Yeah, that's cool.
But you're right, if you have tape to do it. I can feel it.
Yeah. All right.
With that said, I'm gonna do it. Okay, let's see, guys.
Using the Post-it, using what we got.
And the best
Okay,
part is, yeah, go ahead.
My no is ready. I'm gonna take off this random circle that I tried. Just because it's annoying me. And actually, I'm gonna make it just one no. I'm gonna try my yes as well. And then we'll get to making some cards.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Time check.
I know. We're just gonna make stencils all day.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
just gonna start stenciling the house. Yeah, and I love how versatile stencils are. I mean, we'll be making some cards. You can make it just original artwork if you want, and have it, you know, I could frame this and just put it up on my wall, or I can write a little note in the card and send it off. Yeah, I've seen some beautiful stencils of people like making decorations for their kitchen, and just really going wild with it, starting off simple and then going with that. So the toilet paper roll is working.
Yay.
Yeah, I'm now curious. I'm like, what glue is this that's keeping it together? It's funny because the when I made the yo, I didn't draw in my entry points. I just kind of felt it out, and I'm really enjoying having drawn them out because it's just like, oh, this is the path I'm following. It's it's just a little simpler.
It's like making a to-do list.
Mm.
You're like envisioning what your next steps are going to be, even if you haven't done them yet.
Yeah. I have many to-do lists. I get lost without them. And there's some parts of the toilet paper roll that are a little harder where the glue is. So I'm just kind of powering through that.
Really thought hope was going to be an easy word, but ain't this a reminder that it's not always easy to
Now and hope itself, right?
exactly. That's
Yeah.
you heard the right thing. I swear, I don't know. I'm going through some deep reflections these days. Feels good. Feels really good.
Yeah, excellent. Ooh. Ah. Okay. Yeah, so my S, a yes. It's a little wonky before I tape it up, but it's working. I got really close, kind of similar to what happened to you, Joanna. Like I drew my letters a bit close together. And there's this little point here that I'm gonna reinforce with some tape because I'm feeling like it might break through. So
I love the imagery of that word. Breakthrough.
Yeah, if you guys have that makes me think of Banksy, this stencil artist that Yeah, it's really wonderful. And I'll just write, I'll write their name. This is a bit of a mystery artist, but they do um, really awesome stencils and kind of changing imagery, and a lot of that kind of when you speak of breakthrough, that came to mind. Just gonna add it to the comments here.
You know what I was thinking about? You know, we were talking about, one of the questions was, can you use construction paper? And it just
Yeah,
occurred to me that maybe the question was
to do the stencil.
on construction paper. Yeah. What do you
Mm,
think of that, yo? Is that an option?
it is. Yeah, it definitely is. It's a bit flimsier as a paper. So especially with paint, it's just going to be potentially a bit harder with paint if you're doing a lot of stencils. So if you're doing like a couple clouds, but it might sort of start deteriorating.
Right, it gets soggier faster.
Get soft. Yeah.
Yeah.
So definitely if you're using like crayons and that kind of thing, that would be a good one to have.
I think I'm gonna do this activity with our um, with one of our learners. I think it's a great way to make the letters come to form. You
Yeah.
know, we feel them.
Yeah. Exciting.
Great idea, yo.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites. And basically every month I look in the recycling bin and figure out what I'm gonna do. But it's pretty cool what we can make. So I've added a little link to Banksy art. So it's just the Facebook page, but the artist is Banksy, and you can look up, just Google or search probably the libraries. I also have books about this particular artist, but just really cool to see what they do. I'm just taping up my yes, and then I'm good to start painting. And I guess, Joanna, so it's almost 7. We got 3 minutes. So I'm thinking if we do 10 more minutes, does that make sense? 10, 15?
Well, one thing I think we're getting into right now.
Yeah.
I'm okay with staying, yeah, and then I'll take a run. And back and but I think what I would love for you to do for us is really explain the painting, like say what you got to say about it. So anybody who maybe didn't want to do a letter and now, and and they have their shape that they're working, that they know where to go from there, and then we can do the letters after. Does that makes the most sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That works for me.
And I just want to say the Post-its are working.
Yay! That's excellent. That is excellent.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right. So do tell, what are we to do with the paint and the sponges that we have?
Sponges. Main thing about sponges I have learned is, for stencils especially, just make sure that they are dry. Because the more sort of watery your paint is, it just won't stay into the stencil as much. So the thicker the paint, the better. Watercolor, I don't encourage because it'll kind of seep out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. And it's like,
All right.
and it's kind of like a dab. It's like, it's not like in a paper.
Yeah.
You kind of
Yeah.
as much
So
paint
I'm
as
gonna try here.
no, yeah.
No, it
Keep
doesn't work. We need a little camera thing.
yeah, that was such a genuine effort.
Yeah. Okay, so I was like, get your paints ready.
I'm really wishing that I thought that yeah. And just for the, I'm doing pencils.
Yeah.
All right, I'll wait my turn. Yeah, go for it.
Okay. So I've got my container. I'm just putting a little dab of paint. I'm gonna set up my card. Okay. And my sponge here, and I'm gonna put a little dab. And yeah, keep it light. I'm gonna start with no. Okay. And I'm gonna just dab on
Said no, 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 no.
no. Hold on to your stencil as you go. Okay, so just try to keep it not moving. You can use your tape for that as well. Okay, if you want. I have tape, but I don't recommend for, where did it go? Oh, here. For masking tape, not masking tape. Masking tape would work. You don't want a tape that's gonna pull paper as you go. So like this tape, I did it the other day and it kind of attaches weirdly, so that's not great. Masking tape will work if you kind of need that, or you can just have one hand holding down your stencil. Yeah. Right. I'll be right back.
Your shirt's so cute.
All right. So I had a little leakage in mine. So you can see my O has like a little thing. Not the end of the world. The beauty once more of stencils is you can just keep going.
Nice.
Yeah. And so if you're using a crayon or a marker, you're just coloring in those spaces.
Right, like I'm trying to explore it, and at first I thought the same way that in paint you kind of like go over.
Yeah.
But you don't have to, because it really is just framed.
Yeah.
For you.
Yeah.
This really feels nice to do.
And now I've got.
Go ahead.
No.
No.
I'm trying it again.
Nice. It's like no.
No. And I'm gonna have yes. I'm gonna add my yes. Maybe another color.
And you use the word like how no explores boundaries, is like a way to explore boundaries. And I feel like we should kind of speak a little bit more to that, because I know the first time I heard boundaries as a term was I was well into my 20s.
Yeah.
And I remember like really, I was like, yeah, boundaries, like those are important. Like I hadn't really thought about them much. So I think just this idea of to explore the word no and the value of that word, that what that means as it relates to boundaries, kind of just this idea that you know what you you know, which like exploring what your needs are
Yeah.
versus the needs of maybe somebody else.
Yep.
And then identifying whether or not you're good with that, and that saying no and getting and practicing saying no. That idea of
Mhm.
practicing hearing yourself say it
Yeah.
is part of the learning how to set boundaries. So I like the idea of taking that word and transforming it into art as a way to get used to it and
Yeah.
comfortable with it. I think that's really powerful. Good choice.
And sometimes, yeah, you gotta say no. Then you get your yes.
Nice.
Yeah, and I'm thinking of like, who would I want to send this to as a card, or do I just keep it as artwork? Whoop. It's an interesting thing to explore.
And oh man, you know, it makes me think of those times where you make something and it doesn't have a destination,
Yeah.
but but then its purpose emerges. Like,
Mm,
you know, like you're like, oh, this card would be good for someone else, or this pattern like would be like, as we were making cards tonight, like this would be appropriate for something. um at one of our arts and scraps, I made a house, the framework of a house, and I put plants in the window and like
hmm.
drew like green vines.
Yeah.
And I found it when we were all in a pandemic.
Mm.
When we were all once in a pandemic, um, and it was something about it really comforted me, and it was the
Mm,
moment that reminded me about like the growth that needs to take place in our isolated rooms, you know, in our
mm.
isolated homes, like that we're basic, like, you know, that meme, like we're a living plant.
Yeah.
So, you know, we need water, we need sunlight, you know, that kind of thing. I remember so yeah, that before it didn't really have a purpose, but then it found its purpose.
Mm. That's awesome. I'd like to see that picture.
I'll send it to you.
Good. I'm making clouds now.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm having a good time coloring in my letters.
Mm.
There's something very cathartic about it,
Yeah.
because it reminds me, I think, of well, yeah, I mean, I simply put, being a kid and tracing letters.
Mm. Yeah.
I can do different tones with the crayons. Is that showing up?
Mm. Hard to see. Can you put it closer? Okay. Hope is faint. It's Submerging.
Yeah, because I started with like one thing that I don't know if it was, yeah, you know, you start with a lighter color and then it gets darker, and then you do layers of darker stuff. So
Mm.
I'm just trying to do that.
I've got my clouds.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Do you have two
So
different
I have two different colors. So I have a light blue and a turquoise.
Yeah.
And you can see, because I have my old dish sponge, like this one's a bit lighter. So I kind of have one that I'm going in with the paint, and then I go to the next one, to the next one. So I kind of make three without putting paint on again. And it's just a nice, this is my stencil looks like now. If you are gonna make it again, I usually just let the paint dry, because I like the look of it, especially because I'm using this cereal box cardboard, so it's relatively thick, but not too thick. And but if it really annoys you, you can just kind of slightly, maybe with a sponge that you haven't used for painting, you can take it off. Just don't wet it too much, or else your cardboard's gonna get smushy. Yeah, but you just have to, if you want to use another color, you gotta wait a bit till it's dry to keep on going with that. And like I was saying before, oh, where'd my little cloud go? Oh, here. I'll just show you. I have the cloud here, the cutout. And so if I just put that on here, so if I'm just placing it on my card, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go in with my sponge, and maybe with the gold, just so it pops out. My gold is kind of like gold brown. And I'm gonna sponge around it, and that'll kind of make the opposite color. And my cloud's a little small, so I'm gonna get probably some paint on my fingers. And so I've basically, whoop. Oh, it's really hard to show. It more or less worked. It shows you the space here. It works well with a paintbrush. I'm realizing it's a bit better. You can kind of make it pop like my heart here. So it's the same thing I did, but I have my heart kind of go out. So I'm going to qualify that as a fail, but I'm going to come in with my paintbrush and see if I can, I'll do another cloud just to try it out, just to see on another part.
Can you see it better now?
Ah, yes. Hope emerges. Oh, cool.
Yeah, in person it works. And it has, even though I like kind of wasn't into how big my H was,
yeah,
to my little ones, now I'm realizing that I could either write a message or I can draw a picture. You know, I can find you know, there I can add to it.
nice.
So one thing while we're here, yeah,
it's a thing. That's not my favorite, but
it definitely took a turn.
play around.
Yeah. Maybe
while we're here.
Kept going, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, while we're here, if you're with us, I do want to mention that you know, Literacy in Action as an organization, we've been still trying to offer things not only on Facebook Live, but in collaboration with different partners to offer different types of services. Well, I wouldn't call them services, but like programs that would help anyone improve their experience with technology. So we're doing an 8-week series. Yes. We'll be starting we're in the middle of our 3rd week. It's not too late to sign up. It's ongoing. So if you want more information, do reach out to us. It's each Monday, on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. It's different topics. It's different devices.
Yeah.
And so Tuesday it's Androids, Wednesday it's Windows 10, and Thursdays it's Mac technology. So reach out to me. We're doing it in collaboration with Atwater Library. I've sat through some of them. They are so helpful. You know, I've used technology most of my adult life and I'm learning things. It's really interesting. The other thing is the The other thing is that in the CRA, so the Canadian Revenue Agency, the people we send our taxes to are helping the public at large better understand what they can have access to through filling in their taxes properly. So if you're somebody who's trying to do your taxes at home on your own this year, or if you have and are using Literacy in Action's income tax assistance program, this is still an interesting workshop so that you can learn about what your rights are around your taxes. You know, what do you have the right to in certain conditions and situations? So please, if you want more information about that, contact us, because it's, you know, something we're doing. So I think that's it for now.
All the things. You can always contact us if you have questions about things. Yeah.
And yeah, yes.
Thanks for joining us. Hope.
Oh yeah, sorry. I was like gonna listen and do the same thing. Yeah, thanks for joining.
We're very like we read it every time. We're like, oh.
Thanks for joining us, guys. It's been another great time. Thank you, Yolanda, for
full name,
for guiding us through this. And I certainly think I found something that I would like to do again on my own time, especially after having practiced with you this one time. And I look forward to next month.
Yes. I'm feeling something more earthy. We're gonna do some scraps because spring coming. So we'll explore that next month. That's what I'll say.
Excellent. I'm looking forward.
All right.
Bye, everyone.
Take care. Bye.